Hi, I'm Don Fuchs. As a photojournalist, I spent most of my time traveling. So today I would like to take you to one of my all-time favorite regions in the world. For those of you who have seen the movie The American with George Clooney, this tunnel scene might be vaguely familiar. During the opening credits, he drives through a long tunnel, this exact tunnel actually, and then emerges into some mountain-rimmed high plain. This is the Campo Imperatore in the Abruzzo region. Most of this movie was shot in the Abruzzo region south of Rome, with good reasons. This region, with its mountains, forests, ancient villages and cultural treasures, is exceptionally photogenic. For me, it makes this forgotten part of Italy a dream destination for a photographic expedition. I based myself in Pratola, a sizable town almost in the center of the region. I love Pratola. It's real, it's bypassed by tourism, it's as Italian as it gets. From there, I spent a couple of weeks exploring the surrounds. Naturally, the first photographic subject was Pratola itself. Its narrow alleys and lanes, the church, the many details in the old part of town, and especially the twice-weekly farmers' market piqued my interest. And then there's the Caffè del Corso, of course. You can't start a day without a caffè latte and a cornetto, the Italian version of a croissant. In summer after sunset, people flock to the main square, the Piazza Madonna della Libera. That's when the town really comes alive. So Pratola for me offers a perfect introduction into the photographic possibilities of the region. Not far from Pratola, at the steep slopes of the Montagne del Morone, clings the village of Roccacasale. You can see it as soon as you leave Pratola. Most guidebooks fail to mention this old mountain village. In a way, Roccacasale tells the story of the region. There are houses unoccupied, some fallen into disrepair. I didn't see too many young people. Most of them left to live somewhere else, in America or Australia, for example, as there were no jobs here and no future. For many decades now, the region has been economically depressed, and it has left its mark on the villages. The Abruzzo region is sometimes called the green heart of Italy. A rural exodus since the 50s led to depopulation and economic decline and abandonment of farms and villages. Since then, nature is claiming back lost ground. The forests are expanding, and nowadays 3 national parks and I think 30 nature reserves form a natural paradise for rare plants and animals. as much as olive groves, vineyards and lush paddocks might suggest otherwise. Let me take you on one of the most satisfying walks in the wild Majella National Park. The descent into the Golo di Orofento, a deep limestone gorge below the old spa town of Caramanico Terme. The most impressive reserve in the Abruzzo is the Gran Sasso National Park. There, the almost 3,000 meter high limestone peak of Corno Grande is a magnet for walkers, climbers and mountaineers. In spring, wildflowers carpet the meadows while snow walls still line the road. I love the contrast between the flower-rich meadows and the jagged mountains. Below is rich life, up there is only rock and ice, the realm of serious mountaineers and walkers. The Abruzzo region, however, is not only mountains, forests and villages. In the west, the region is bordered by the Adriatic Sea. A string of often crowded seaside towns and many beaches cater for those craving sun and sea. I was particularly interested in the trabocchi, unique and elaborate fishing contraptions along this stretch of the coast. A trabocchi is practically a wooden hut on stilts built into the shallow waters of the Adriatic Sea, accessible via a rickety footbridge. Sticking out from these makeshift huts are long wooden beams holding fishing nets that can be lowered into the water and raised again. These trabocchi are a fascinating subject for photographers. After this excursion to the sea, I was drawn back into the mountains. My next destination was the mountain village of Scanno. It is a must for photographers. In Scanno, I followed in the footsteps of one of the greats, Henri Cartier-Bresson. He visited Scanno in 1951 and produced many iconic images of the village and its people. His concept of the decisive moment, in which photographers must snap their shutters at the exact right time to achieve the ideal shot, was particularly influential amongst photojournalists and street photographers. Scanno is the ideal location to work in black and white and to follow Cartier-Bresson's concept of the decisive moment. Another interesting town is Sulmona, a favorite of mine. The city, framed by the Majella mountains, is the cultural hub of the area. It is the birthplace of the Roman poet Ovid, and a bronze statue of him overlooks a small piazza in the medieval part of town. I could spend days just exploring the historic buildings, churches galore of course, but what makes Sulmona so lovable is its atmosphere. There's so much life in the streets and people quite clearly are enjoying themselves in their city. And again, where it all comes together is at the markets. When it comes to food, Italy is hard to beat. As a photographer and a food lover, I had an absolute ball in Sulmona.
We'll finish soon.
While I was roaming the countryside around the Abruzzo region, I stumbled upon some more obscure cultural sites, hidden away in the mountains of the area. What I'm talking about are hermitages, for example. One of them is the Eremo di San Bartolomé, hidden in a valley in the Majella National Park. Just a short walk leads down to a large overhanging cliff in which the hermitage is built. In the same mountains, on a high plateau, amongst meadows that are getting reclaimed by forests, are mysterious, ancient dry stone houses, so-called toloi. The origin of these circular buildings with their conical roofs goes back to when peasants started to cultivate the virgin land here. Later, shepherds used the huts as refuge for themselves and their animals. Some are in disrepair, others are in remarkably good shape. One of the longer excursions from Pratola took me to L'Aquila, the provincial capital. To get there, I chose winding back roads. The town of Fontecchio further along clings to the slopes of the mountains and enchanted me with its narrow alleys and passageways. So, let me take you on a little stroll. After exploring Fontecchio, I drove further up into the hills to a hidden mountain lake, the small and idyllic Lago di Snizzo. And then L'Aquila, the unlucky pearl of the Abruzzo. On April 6, 2009, in the early morning hours, a 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck the ancient city and caused enormous damage. More than 300 people died and about 60,000 were left homeless. Although the efforts to rebuild the city are ongoing, the pace is extremely slow, and to this day, more than 12 years later, the city is still struggling to recover. Only a handful of bars, restaurants and shops have reopened. Some of the major attractions, however, like the famous church Santa Maria del Colomaccio, escaped major damage. So if you are in the area, visit L'Aquila, not for ghoulish disaster tourism, but to support this amazing town. And the whole region, with its incredible diversity, its beauty, its cultural treasures, its people, and its enormous photographic possibilities.